This self is Brahman, ayam atma brahma, is one of the Mahavakyas, or great aphorisms, of the Upanishads. In order to grasp its significance, you must first know yourself. And if yourself is known, then you know you are Brahman, the vast absolute. If yourself is known, then there remains nothing else to know or to be known. Brahman, or the Self, is of the nature of infinite being, consciousness, bliss. Without another, without division, without duality. The first thing then is to know yourself. Unless you know yourself, how can you know what is real? Unless you know yourself, how can you know God? If you do know yourself, the reality, God, the self, yourself, are all one and the same. Therefore, in the Maharshi's instructions, emphasis is placed always on self-knowledge, the means for which is the profound inquiry within yourself, who am I? All the views one might hold about God, the world, and whatever else there may be, all those views are dependent upon the definition of oneself. However you conceive of yourself determines how you will view all these. The definition of I determines the definition of this. If you would know yourself as you truly are, as the undifferentiated existence, consciousness, bliss, you would find neither I nor this. The real existence is undivided, without beginning and without end. For the sake of your own perpetual peace, perpetual bliss, you must know this existence, your own existence, as it is, as you are. If you would only do two things, cease to misidentify with the body, and abandon the false assumption of existing as an individual entity, you would know yourself. That is, Brahman would know Brahman, for there is no other to do so. Consider your experience. Past, present, and future makes no difference. What do you regard as yourself? Do you consider yourself a body, or as if embodied, as a sensing entity? What do you regard yourself as? Do you regard yourself as one who performs activities? Do you think of yourself in terms of birth, living, death? These and other such attributes all belong to the body, Are you the body? Whatever be your experience, whatever it is, in whatever form it appears, it depends on the experiencer. Who is that one? To try to determine what is without first knowing yourself is like chasing after echoes. Make your vision non-objective and seek your own nature. If the question naturally arises, who should seek his own nature? That's precisely the inquiry indicated. What is it that is referred to as I? If it is assumed, to be individualized, whether defined in terms of the body, or by the mind, or with any other kind of definition, then there will appear to be multiplicity. The real nature of the self, which is non-ego, being veiled, multiplicity is projected within the sphere of imagination. The multiplicity must be for someone. Experience must be for someone. Who is that someone? If you inquire to know yourself like this, the unreal, from the ego down to the form of the world, being unreal, will cease. The reality, whichever is, always existing, remains. What then has happened? Nothing has happened, but Maya, illusion, or samsara, the repetitive cycle of birth and death, has been abolished. The illusion of bondage is no more, and this is said to be liberation, but it is liberation from imagined bondage. The ego is then said to have died, but how could something that was not born really die? Yet it and all the troubles born of imagination are over. Said to be the greatest attainment in human life, really it is not something gained anew. Sri Bhagavan has said, there is no attainment and no time in which to attain. That which is timeless, spaceless, objectless, birthless, and imperishable is your own being. It is the only self that you are. There is not another kind of self. Therefore, sadhana or spiritual practice does not involve the individual self attaining to that. It is merely the self-revelation of that in its own innate knowledge. There is no other kind of self. That is why the Upanishads said, ayam atma brahma. The self is Brahman. Dive within yourself and verify this for your own experience.